heet The Matrix. Mocht je die nog niet gezien hebben, ga er zeker even naar kijken. En ze heeft ook een prachtige nieuwe documentaire gemaakt. Of film. Filmdocumentaire. En die komt 21/12 uit. En ja, ik heb net het verhaal gehoord. Dat is echt een film die je moet gaan zien. Die gaat over de 2 tijdlijnen waar we nu in gaan komen. En die ene tijdlijn, dat is natuurlijk waar we richting die bionic human gaan. De half mens, half robot. En dan zijn we gevaccineerd. En ja, wat gaat er dan gebeuren? En die andere tijdlijn die ik het liefst zou gaan volgen is die mooie nieuwe wereld, die 5e dimensie. Dus ik kijk er naar uit. Ik hou je daarvan op de hoogte.
De Blueprint.
De Blueprint gaat die uit. Ja,
op Iconic.
Iconic. Ja,
van Iconic Media. David Icke's zonen.
Yes.
Die zijn er begonnen zijn, ja.
Ja, dus dan kun je nu, wat is de domeinnaam daarvan?
Iconic met CK van David Icke, iconic.com.
Ja, top.
Ja.
Kunnen jullie even feedback geven of wij goed te verstaan zijn? Ik zie hier al Tineke die goedemiddag zegt. En laat even de feedback geven. We hebben dadelijk iemand in de uitzending, want dit is wel een heel belangrijk verhaal wat verteld moet worden. Kan jij misschien even inleiden, want jij kreeg dit verhaal op jouw pad.
Ja, het is echt heartbreaking. En mijn vrouw die eigenlijk meerdere filmmakers benaderd heeft van, hey, ik probeer mijn verhaal te vertellen, maar er wordt van alles er gewoon steeds tussenin gegooid, waardoor ik mijn verhaal kan niet naar buiten komen. En in principe is het zo dat in het mooie, lieve, schattige landje Denemarken, dat daar toch wel aardig wat duistere praktijken zich afspelen. En waar blijkt dat kinderen weggehaald worden van families. En het minste voelde ik wat ik kan doen, is om zeg maar, deze kwestie te highlighten.
Ja.
De naam van de dame is Anita Jensen, dus uit Denemarken. En ze zit in de waiting room om haar verhaal te vertellen aan ons.
Ja, en dit is ook het verhaal wat in jouw film ook terugkomt, de Blueprint. Dat de kinderen van ons, de ouders worden afgenomen. Dat wij dus niet de goede opvoeders zouden zijn voor onze kinderen.
Ja. Ja, en natuurlijk is dat niet een tijdslijn waar ik naartoe wil.
Ja.
Maar het is wel belangrijk, know thy enemy, dat je weet van wat er zich zou kunnen afspelen of wat er zich achter de schermen afspeelt, zodat wij andere keuzes kunnen gaan maken. En ik denk dat dit verhaal een heel belangrijk voorbeeld is.
En dat dit nu dus al gebeurt. Ik had geen idee. Ja. Ik hoorde het ook voor het eerst, dus we gaan Anita erbij halen. Even haar geluid aanzetten. En dank jullie wel voor de feedback dat we goed te verstaan zijn. Ik hoop dat de verbinding ook perfect blijft. Hallo Anita, welkom. We do this interview in English for the Dutch viewers. Anita, you have a story for us. Maybe Cristiano, you could ask questions.
Well, maybe to start absolutely from the beginning, because I don't know a lot of details yet about your story. All that I know is that your children are not living with you at the moment, that you are currently residing in Italy and not in Denmark. So maybe you can start from the beginning and exactly what happened. You were a normal, happy family, a normal, average Danish family with 2 children. What happened?
You'll see, it keeps still cutting out sometimes. Hello. Our children were different from the beginning. We could feel they had, especially our boy, had autistic tendencies, very subtle, but they were there. They joined the little local school and it was lovely for them. They were cared for, they were loved. It was a really beautiful atmosphere. At one point, a few years on, they decided to shut that school down. Bigger schools, all the little schools joined together, and they did that. And that's when our kids really started not thriving. They would come home with stomach aches and headaches and, please don't send me to school tomorrow. So that's what we did. We didn't send them to school. We decided we'd do homeschooling, and that was allowed in Denmark. It's legal. Although we were the first ones in the big area we lived to do it. It was great. Once we got you can say tuned in, like even at a very young age, our kids were really affected by the school system. They didn't want to learn. They didn't, their ways were forgotten, and they did things as they should be, which is really hard to see. So a lot of the time we use playing, no, we're not at school, we're at home, and at home we learn things. We learned in the kitchen, in the garden, with the animals, whatever, everything's learning. And once you get your children to understand that they have a great capacity to learn, they learn.
And
so it went.
Sorry to interrupt you. Did you notice that once you started homeschooling, did you notice that your children started to feel better?
Oh, definitely. It took a while for that feeling that it was their wisdoms that they could use. But once they got that, it was like they used the things they liked to learn. And, you know, like under a Minecraft session, then we have to find out how those numbers add together. So we just drifted off into some maths. That's how it works. You know, with my daughter, she loves North Korean pop, but of course didn't understand the language. Well, no, South Korean pop is called. So start learning the language. And that's how it works. I think that's how it works with everyone, but yeah. So they were very quickly getting into their own fields of interest. It didn't look like a school. It looked like a weekend at home every day.
Yeah.
And it was great. The inspector from the school had came out and seen what we were doing and was very inspired by it and very happy for how the kids were going. That changed very suddenly to that there was a new inspector. They were very worried about the kids, had never met them, but were very worried. And then they came out one day, totally unexpected, sat down where the four of us sat and said, we're going to remove your kids. We're going to take them from you. Directed to the children, would you like to come and see the new home you're going to live in?
Oh, no.
We were petrified. We were in shock, all of us. The kids were frightened beyond belief. My husband and I were like, you don't do this. How can they do this?
Have you had any previous warnings?
No.
You had no letters?
No. Like there was that one guy that had said he was worried that we were doing homeschooling with no grounds for it. But yeah, that was it.
Did you have any neighbors that maybe had seen the kids at home a lot that you think roused you up?
No, it was Thomas's, my husband's brother. He doesn't like homeschooling. My husband comes from a family of rules, and this is how we do things, and we don't go from that path. Thomas never fitted into that path, and now he was taking his kids out of the Danish school system, you know, like you don't do that. So they had reported us. We found out. And then it just went, like my kids were very quick to say no, they didn't want to go anywhere. So they didn't. And then we kept on saying, why? Like, what have we done? They said, well, we don't actually know, but we're putting a case together. and there was a lot of that type. They hadn't a case. They didn't have a case. They had to make a case so they could take our children. So there were things like we had another lady's cat in the house, which was scared because we had a cat. Her cat had peed in the corner, and then that was the problem. The room smelled of cat pee. Well, you know, that can happen. It wasn't a regular thing, but it can happen. We were told that my daughter, who was 12, 13 at the time, that she talked Danish with an Australian accent. I'm born in Australia. I can say definitely she does not talk English with an Australian accent. She doesn't talk Danish with an Australian accent. And if she did, who cares?
Yes.
There's no reason to remove children.
No.
So it was an irrational witch hunt, basically.
Yeah.
There was nothing in it. We've had so many people look at the case. There's nothing in it that would warrant taking children and exactly taking them right here and now. Nothing. But that's how they do things in Denmark. They don't need a reason. They can just do it.
And
so,
then the day that they were taken from you?
No, that was in Denmark. Then we decided, we went to a lawyer. Unfortunately found out it was a lawyer that was actually paid by the government to say what you need to hear. So we were told we had a 10% chance of winning a case. We had done nothing wrong. We had homeschooled our kids. This is it. And apart from that, had got, especially with my older son, has got those autistic tendencies, and he was like at a place where he could talk, where he could converse with different people. So we've got them out of those things so they could, what's it called? Yeah, be in the normal society. But we were told that we wouldn't win, and my husband and I decided we wouldn't risk going to a court case where there was a very little chance we'd be taking the children home.
But as a lawyer who has, studied law, understands law, how could they quantify that they, or qualify or whatever, sorry, that there's only a 10% chance? He must have needed to explain exactly why that is, because there's no ground for removal.
The exact figure is 3% chance. Once they have said, once the municipality has said that they will take your kids, you've got 2 to 3% chance to get them back. And this has to do with some old laws. I think it's from 16 something, 100 year, whatever. That the municipalities are not contested. So if a social worker says you have done something, then even in the highest court of Denmark, they will say, well, the municipality says that, so it must be right. Mm. And the laws are still such. So no one contests the municipality or the social workers. They have free hand to do whatever they want to do. And they're using it. So we decided we wouldn't risk it. We could see this was not going a good place, and our kids were big enough that we discussed what was happening.
How old were they then?
Yeah, it was between 12, 14, around there. Yeah. So we decided we'd leave Denmark. We'd literally just take a bag and go. And go south and find someone that would listen and help us. We ended up, because we were pretty much all four shell-shocked, it had, like in the space of a month, our lives had turned on the heads, and suddenly we were seen as criminals, bad parents, and like my life has revolved around love and peace, and helping people go forward. So we ended up in France and were there for a while, and then came to Italy, as we all actually really like Italy and wanted to live in the sun. And we did that. And when we got to Italy, we had some weeks where we were, days or whatever it was, I can't remember, where we just tried to, if you can say, forget everything and just be tourists and whatever. But we couldn't, of course, that. And I went to the police and told them who we were, what we were.
Yeah, we're having a little issue here.
Okay.
Anita, can you just click on the link again? So go out and come back again?
Yes.
Just one more time? Ja. Ja, we wachten heel even tot de verbinding. Ik wil het geluid iets zacht zetten, maar ze komt gewoon even terug. Ja, nee, het geluid moet wel, maar niet helemaal oversturen. Ja. Zo lekker. Nou, wat een verhaal, hè, mensen. Het is ongelooflijk. Dus in Denemarken worden jaarlijks heel veel kinderen al uit huis geplaatst. Onder het mom, dus dat wij het zelf niet goed zouden kunnen. Yes, you're back.
Okay.
Can I hear you now?
I can hear you.
Sound.
What is this?
Okay, shall
Het
we
is echt heel raar.
try again?
I go out again?
Right. Het ligt niet aan ons geluid.
You're still doing the same thing, Anita, right? You didn't change anything in your setup.
No, nothing at all.
Okay, try one more time to remove
Yes.
and come back again.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's live.
It's typical with subjects like these that, you know, there's often some kind of interference happening when you open such a beer put.
De beerput, ja. Oh my. Maar dit is precies dat verhaal wat jij gaat vertellen in die blueprint, ja. Ongelooflijk. Ik wist niet dat het nu al gaande was. Yes. Can you say something?
Yes.
No, still not working.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Ja, je kunt haar bellen erbij.
Iemand zegt, we horen het goed. Horen jullie
hoor je
haar ook? Anita ook?
Ja? Connie, hoor jij haar praten?
Oh, alleen ons. Oké.
Maar Anita, kan je nog iets zeggen? Maar ja, dan is het ook dan kunnen wij ook niet meer. Can you say something, Anita?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, no, we can't hear you.
Just crazy.
But kunnen jullie ook Anita horen?
I can hear you.
Dan ligt het gewoon aan ons dus. Zij zeggen dat er niks aan de hand is. Ja, zij kunnen Anita wel horen. Maar ja, wij dus niet meer. Wat is dit?
Hè?
Moeten wij er even in en uit?
Ja, wij moeten erin en uit.
Anita,
Sorry,
I just removed myself and come back in again. So you just stay
where you are.
No, I can't hear you either.
Is this working better? Hello, hello. Nee, Anita.
Hello.
Wij horen alles. Ja, nou, dat is vreemd. Oké, maar wij kunnen haar dus niet meer horen. Dus het is ook een apart interview dan. Alle twee doen het goed. Nou. Kan iemand het vertalen? Ja. Nou, Anita. Anita, you can hear me. Yeah, just tell your story. Go on with your story.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't hear it.
Yeah, but then people can hear.
We were in Italy and got in contact with the police and told them the story.
Sorry, Anita. Yeah. I'm gonna try something else.
Okay.
Ja, maar dat zou niets moeten doen.
Je hoort het niet doen. Je kunt op het radertje klikken, kijken waar je samen zit.
Oké.
En turn on microphone. Play test sound. Hoor je niks?
Sorry hoor.
Yeah,
we willen heel graag dit interview afmaken.
We can't hear you, Anita, but the people watching can hear you. I can check my phone. That's true.
Iemand zegt verschoon, als we dat doen, als ik dit doe hier, verschonen, gaat hij
ja,
dan...
ja, ja.
Ja, kan
ja,
ik dat eens
gewoon. Ja,
proberen?
kan je doen. Ja.
Een beetje, jongens. Anita, zeg eens wat. Say something.
Hello.
Oh. Even kijken. Ja, Anita mag. Ja, Anita, just tell your story. Go on telling. People can hear you.
Okay, just Thomas, can you just shut the door here? Yeah.
Sorry, afleiding.
Italy.
Ja, je hoort ze hier wel. We can hear you from my phone then. Maar ja, dan hoor je het dubbel.
Talking to police and they were pretty stunned.
Kan jij luisteren?
Ja.
They were pretty stunned to hear what had happened, but
Het heeft waarschijnlijk mensen met mijn MacBook Pro te maken.
Ja, en ik zat op een knop.
Just
tell your story, Anita.
Okay, and then ended up talking to a social worker and
ja, iemand
they
stelt
said they would help
stellen, dus,
with me.
So Anita, sorry, I won't interrupt you again.
Yes.
I won't interrupt you again, but people are going to start asking questions in the dialogue window. I'll pass them on. I can't hear them, but you can just answer them. So.
Okay. But after we, it changed suddenly from the
Dit is een beeld brengen. Oh, ja.
Sorry, it's confusing because I can also hear you guys. What's it called? It changed suddenly that Denmark had found out where we were and they got in contact with the legal system in Italy and they wanted us to give our kids back because suddenly they weren't our kids, they were their kids, even though nothing had been ruled. So it ended up that one day we were told, my husband and I were told we should go to a meeting with some social workers to discuss what they had found out. And while we were at the meeting, the police had gone in and taken both the children without us knowing, without the kids knowing, and they were taken to a children's home. I can't describe how that felt. We weren't allowed to talk to the kids or to have anything to do with them. It was a few weeks before Christmas. It was in 2018 that they took them. Our kids were frightened. The people at the children's home in Italy talked very little English, so there was no communication. They held them there. Then suddenly they said we could meet the kids again. We were allowed to see them for 1.5 hours each week under guidance of some people that had to stand and look at us. The people from the home where they were and the people that were in those meetings were very confused because they saw two kids that loved their parents and two parents that loved their kids. We have a fantastic dynamic together. But then they were told again, back to the home. We had to give them food because they didn't really get so much to eat there. So we bought food every week and then just sat and cuddled and talked and had fun and tried to hold on to something. After they'd been there 6 months, we came to a meeting, my husband and I, where we were met again by the police and said, "Oh, your kids are on the way to Denmark." yeah, so they just took them. No goodbye, no nothing. They just took them. So when they got to Denmark, they were put into a foster family where they were for a week or two, I can't remember, and then were moved again to another foster family where the amount of abuse my two kids got was over the top. They had to talk to a psychologist. I found out by Googling his name that he was the psychology board in Denmark had hit their eyes on him and he was under investigation. In Denmark, the municipality had hired this guy that was under investigation for being really bad to come from one end of the land to them to talk to our kids. Like, I don't understand that. That's not a way you do things in Denmark. He sat and ridiculed our kids. He told them how bad we were. Both the kids were really, really frightened and depressed. He made fun of the kids. The what's it called? Foster family. They had no understanding of children that had been through so much trauma as my two kids have been. They had no understanding of autism, nothing. So it was like they would stand with the foster mother would stand at the bathroom door and just hit on it and say, get out now. My kids were in like stress every single minute. They were told they had to come downstairs from their rooms and eat. And when they came down, there was 2 meals set on the table. These are 2 kids that had just been taken in such a terrible way, and they were just left to sit and eat alone. My son decided he would record some of the conversations on his telephone, which he did, and they were sent to the community, to the municipality, to hear the way they were talked to. I've had many people listen to those tapes, which are heart-wrenching, to hear 2 kids screaming for help and getting told off. But the municipality thought that was okay, so there was no problems there. My son Nikolai also recorded one of the talks with the psychologist where he ridiculed them and talked in a way no person should talk to a child. And also those tapes were heard. One thing is that guy's not working as a psychologist anymore, so that's good. Afterwards, the children were taken to an institution where I think it has been used at least for kids with psychological problems or whatever. So in a very short time, they were moved and moved and moved and moved. And I don't know. We have lawyers for the kid. We had lawyers for us. They couldn't do anything. Evidence was not wanted in the courts. Each time there was a court case, the case against my husband and I got worse and worse. You know, it's just like, oh, we'll put a new story in. I don't know. At the moment, they've decided there's no point in going any further. So the court cases are closed, so the kids can just be there. We've taken our cases filed in the European Council, I think it's called, Human Rights Council, as a case for torture, as a case for misdoings by a municipality. But that's first, Denmark's cases are first getting taken up next year.
Anita, I am going to interrupt you for a moment because there's a lot of people that don't understand what's going on here. I just want to re-explain that we lost audio from our end. We cannot hear Anita. So before we continue, let's just reiterate quickly what this is about. Do you want to give a quick summary in het Nederlands?
Even een korte update in het Nederlands, wat we hier aan het doen zijn. Dus dit verhaal kwam binnen bij Christiane. Zij maakt een documentaire waar dit verhaal ook in terugkomt. Het zijn die twee tijdlijnen die het nu ontvouwen. En in Denemarken zijn ze dus al blijkbaar al jaren bezig om kinderen uit huis te halen. Onder het mom van dat wij als ouders niet goed voor onze kinderen zouden zorgen. En bij Anita ook hebben ze gewoon problemen gecreëerd. Ze gaf haar kinderen thuisonderwijs, omdat ze merkte dat ze daarvan opbloeiden. Dat het op school gewoon niet meer lekker was. Dat de kinderen zelfs aangaven, mama, ik wil niet meer naar school, het is niet meer fijn. Nou, heeft ze ter alle tevredenheid thuisonderwijs is ze gaan geven. Maar toen zijn haar kinderen dus van de ene op de andere dag gewoon letterlijk uit huis gehaald. Nou, en toen ze dat natuurlijk niet accepteerden, want niemand zou zijn eigen kinderen willen verliezen. Toen hebben ze de keuze gemaakt, omdat ze via een rechter en een advocaat niet zouden winnen, het gelijk zouden krijgen, om het land maar te verlaten. Dus ze zijn eerst naar Frankrijk gegaan, daarna in Italië terechtgekomen. En in Italië, daar hebben ze even kunnen leven. Maar toen zijn ze dus letterlijk ook in Italië, zijn de kinderen van haar weg afgenomen, in een opvangtehuis gezet. En zelfs, toen mocht ze nog maar 1 keer in de week 1,5 uur haar kinderen bezoeken samen met haar man. Toen hebben ze de kinderen ook zonder overleg en mededelen weer terug naar Denemarken gebracht. Terwijl zij in Italië dus nu nog zit. Als Anita teruggaat naar Denemarken, wordt zij zelfs in de gevangenis gezet. Omdat zij dus blijkbaar haar kinderen heeft meegenomen, haar eigen kinderen heeft meegenomen. Dus dat is even het verhaal. Dus we gaan nu even verder.
So once again, I reiterate, we can't hear Anita. So we can either stop the recording or keep continuing. And so Anita, sorry. So I would like to ask where we are at today. And before you answer, let me just finish because I won't be able to hear you. So where are your children living at the moment? And what have you already tried in the last sort of 6 months? And maybe you can also explain then what kind of help specifically you need right now. So what we can do and the viewers can do specifically. I'll unmute myself now. Thank you.
Okay, our children are in Denmark in an institution. Luckily, it's one of the better institutions, so they are being looked after, which is not always the case, unfortunately. We have gone through the procedures in the Danish system. After talking to so many other people in Denmark that have had the same thing happen, that we sort of knew that it's just a procedure. The case goes to court and it will come back in their favour. And then they've pretty much locked the case, which the last thing they said was that apart from all the things they've said about us and made up about us, that we'd never love our kids anyway. We'd never showed them compassion. So they locked the case. So there's no further judicial things we can do in Denmark. Denmark has had some problems with Human Rights Commission because they haven't been following human rights, especially in the children's this section. So they have to go to a school to next year in Strasbourg, where they have to be tested if they really do know what they're doing. And that's when a lot of our cases are getting shown. So our case has been looked at apparently by some judges in the Human Rights Court, but it's still to next year that there will be a case made of it. We want our kids home. There is no reason that they took them. My husband and I are living here in Italy because if we go back to Denmark, we'll be put in jail because we apparently have kidnapped our children by trying to save them from the system. So we are caught. Apart from that, both children have said that that gave them hope that we were still here in Italy. They love Italy. So that we were here, it sort of gave them something to look forward to. But we can't sort of move forward here because if Denmark knows where we are, they will want us back. So we're living from people's help that we've met under ways, and the little money that we still have. I feel that Denmark on purpose tries to get the parents suffering. They will in Denmark move the children to the other side of the country. So if the parents want to see them, they will have to pay. It's very dear to travel in Denmark. So, that they do everything they can to sort of get the parents away because now they're their children and they're not. We especially want our children. I haven't held my children for over 1.5 years. And I hate the lies that they're being told. Denmark is a very authority believing country. This is so long away from my world because I know what the world has to offer and I know what we can do as people and what we can do together. So they're trying to change them. They're trying to change my kids into something they're not. We need to be together. Somehow to get a lawyer, an international lawyer, to find something he could do to get them out. We just want to be together. We want to.
Anita, we still can't hear you from here. We've been listening on the other device while being mute. Deeply touched by your story, and I
want to give you a hug, Anita.
Yeah, and I think
I feel you. I hear you.
I think everyone wants to give you a hug right now, and more. I feel that this is definitely a time of action that we've entered, and apart from legal help, I feel there's other avenues to explore as well, us the people together. So, Eva, what do you suggest we do as a sort of a central point where people can maybe suggest legal help or ideas of something we can do? apart from just highlighting it on screen.
Yeah. Going to do this in Dutch, so because of a lot of Dutch people watching. Ja, zit je nu te kijken en voor mij is dit verhaal ook echt nieuw en mindblowing inderdaad, dat dit nu al gebeurt. En blijkbaar Denemarken doet zich voor als het ideale land, hè, wat, hoe noem je het, dat allemaal zo mooi. En, maar blijkbaar gebeurt het gewoon, eerlijk, maar dit is gebeurd in Denemarken. En dat is gewoon around the corner, om toch maar weer Engels te gebruiken. Maar dus deel deze video in ieder geval met zoveel mogelijk mensen, zodat mensen bewust zijn van welke kant we opgaan. Welke tijdlijnen er zich ontvouwen en al aan het ontvouwen zijn. Maar ook juridische hulp natuurlijk. Dan hebben we natuurlijk wel mensen nodig die daar verstand van hebben. Die denken, oké, misschien kan ik Anita helpen op een manier zodat ze uit deze schrijnende situatie kan komen. En hoe meer mensen hiervan afweten, hoe meer mensen ook daarin de ogen kunnen openen en zien wat hier echt gebeurt. Hè. Dus Anita is gewoon een goede moeder, haar man is een goede vader. En er is wat dat betreft niks aan de hand. Maar dit gebeurt ook in Nederland natuurlijk al. Ik krijg zelf ook persoonlijke verhalen van jeugdzorg toegestuurd. Dus kijken of we Anita kunnen helpen op een of andere manier. Of er support kan zijn. We delen dit op Facebook van Onafhankelijke Pers, op YouTube van Onafhankelijke Pers Nederland. Maar wellicht kunnen we dit op meer kanalen wegzetten. En ook internationaal, omdat het natuurlijk in het Engels is. Heb jij nog...
Yes, internationally obviously as well. Basically, Anita, is there a point of contact that you've created for people to send suggestions, advice, legal help, etc.?
No.
Okay, so we after we post this video, we'll probably put something on like a point of contact of some sort that we can use.
Yeah.
Hoi, Eugenie. Eugenie.
Okay, Anita, maybe you can, some last words you would like to say, or maybe you want to connect with other families who have the same situation, because then you have support from each other if you are in the same situation, or do you already have that support? Maybe you can tell that.
I'm in contact with a lot of families in Denmark. They said the Prime Minister wanted 50,000 children removed this year. So there has been a lot of children, and there's a lot of parents that really, are in the same situation. I'm thinking also international recognition, maybe writing to the Danish government and say that, this, you can't do this. I could tell a lot more about what they're also doing in Denmark to the children, like to other families. And I think pressure from outside would be good. Denmark has been living in a bit of a bubble, thinking that, everything's fine, everything's good. It's not. Maybe getting in contact with, if there's newspapers or magazines like you're saying with your alternative media, getting this story out. That they can't get away with this. They're ruining so many families each day. It's criminal. For our own sake, we destroy our children. And want to live here in Italy. That's it. Sorry, I don't know what else.
Yeah, we only just heard the last bit of what you said on the other device.
Yeah, we have a delay of 20 seconds.
Delay, So thank you deeply for this. And any suggestions would be really great of what we can do, and then we can sort of centralize these things in some kind of Facebook group or Facebook page. Maybe send this to mainstream media.
Yeah, I've got an idea for the media alarm we have every first Monday. We've got the NL alerts and then we go to the mainstream media, and maybe we can tell this story to the NOS and to all the the people, the media who aren't talking about this, because I didn't know this story. Yeah.
Yes. So, Anita, as we can't hear you, I'm going to. What we'll probably do is we'll stop this live broadcast and then we'll meet again offline, okay? So we can chat a little bit more about practicalities.
Any suggestions?
Very much, Anita.
We can't hear you right now.
You're
so.
really brave. You're really brave, and we'll talk to you
in 5 minutes.
In 5 minutes.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Ja, mensen, dit verhaal, het is een heftig verhaal. We wisten allebei niet wat ze ging vertellen.
Ja, we leven in een tijd waarin er zulke gekke dingen gebeuren dat je gewoon eigenlijk het gevoel hebt van, iemand zei net ook, it's like I'm being pranked all day. This is like a prank.
Bananensplit.
Het is gewoon, zometeen komt er iemand hier om de hoek lopen en zegt, jullie zijn erin getrapt. Ik bedoel, het is zo extreem. En wat ik wel echt zelf heel sterk voel, is dat het echt maar een klein percentage van mensen er nodig is om echt verandering te brengen. Mensen die gewoon zeggen, nee, ik hou mijn winkel open. Ik hou mijn restaurant open. Whatever, weet je. Want die gewoon zeggen, nee, dit niet meer.
Ja, tot hier en niet verder.
Ja, en iemand schrijft ook, de NOS is evil too, Ja, wat moet je nou nog doen inderdaad met mainstream media? Het enige wat je weet met mainstream media is dat je gewoon een hele grote groep aantal mensen kan bereiken. Maar ja, voordat het er doorheen is, door al die verschillende filters heen.
Ja.
Ja.
Nou ja, ik ben blij dat ik hier aandacht aan kan besteden via dit platform, Onafhankelijke Pers Nederland. Christiane van Wijk, documentaire filmmaker. Ze komt met een mooie film 21 december. De Blueprint. Ze heeft ook Mind the Matrix gemaakt. Allemaal zaadjes die we kunnen planten. Want dat zijn die 2 tijdlijnen die zich nu uitrollen. Dus ik ben heel benieuwd ook naar dat verhaal. Maar ja, het is nu de tijd dat we naar binnen mogen gaan. En inderdaad, die verandering komt van binnenuit. Niemand gaat ons redden. We mogen het echt zelf gaan doen. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Maar dan moeten er wel iets meer mensen ook daar bewust van zijn.
En kleur bekennen, hè? Gewoon opkomen voor waar je echt voor staat en wat echt je innerlijke waarheid is. Ja. En dat ook durven doen. Je bent niet alleen. We zijn niet alleen. Anita die voelt zich ontzettend alleen. Die zit in tranen. Het raakt mijn hart heel erg diep. En zij tuurlijk denkt ze dat ze helemaal alleen is. Maar dat is het gekke is, dat is dus niet zo.
Nee, maar 50.000 kinderen per jaar moeten er dus uit huis gehaald worden. Het is echt ongelooflijk. En het is echt een foute film. Dus deel deze video met zoveel mogelijk mensen om die bewustwording te verspreiden. Om die mensen die nog in een roze bubbel zitten van, we hebben het toch zo goed. We gaan lekker de feestdagen in. We hebben nog onze rosé. En we gaan nog lekker op vakantie naar Italië. Nee!
Cognitieve dissonantie.
Ja, die zitten echt nog in die intelligentie-lockdown. We gaan afsluiten. Dankjewel voor het kijken. En ik wens je...
en als je deelt, make sure dat je ook nog even terugkijkt straks in de subtitle van de video, als we een Facebookpagina of iets dergelijks geopend hebben, dat het niet zomaar nu doodbloedt. Dat zou zonde zijn.
Nee, vind ik ook. Ja, helemaal waar. Fijne avond, fijn weekend. Doe ook iets leuks, iets luchtigs. En dan zie ik je snel weer. Dankjewel.
Die rosé.
Ja.